Hello, everyone, and welcome to day 3 of our virtual open day, brought to you by the Engineering Institute of Technology. My name is Tepiso, and I will be your host for the day. To start things off, please take note of the notification and sounds tab up on your screen. This is to make sure that you're able to turn off any sounds or any notifications that might come through once you are within the meeting. You're able to switch those off just by following the directions up on your screen. And then in terms of the Q&A function, we will have a question and answer session post-webinar. You can also leave your questions either in the chat box or the Q&A section. That's up on your screen right on top. You'll be able to put the questions there. So today's topic is Lectures Insight, Industrial Automation Engineering at EIT, and this will be presented by Dr. Akhlaqur Rahman. He is EIT's course coordinator and on-campus lecturer. Common questions, frequently asked questions. You will receive a copy of the slides as well as the video recording of this particular webinar. All of this will be sent to you by Monday, the 21st of October 2024. Please make sure to check your junk, spam, and promotional folders. The information will be sent there. If you do not find it in your normal inbox, I would encourage you to check those junk, spam, and promotional folders. They will be sent by EIT's marketing team. I do believe that is going to be it from my end. Dr. Akhtar, not Akhtar, Akhlaqur, my apologies, AK. You are more than welcome to start with your presentation. Again, any questions you guys might have, please leave them in the question and answer section or the chat box. We will be happy to answer them. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Abiso. Hopefully you can hear me clearly. So thank you again, everyone, for joining this session where we get to talk about industrial automation and well, the scope of industrial automation and how you can and what you can basically gain from this area of engineering. So basically what we'll be covering today in this session, I'll do a quick intro of myself, obviously, at the beginning. Of course, if he's already introduced me, I'll just discuss a little bit about my career progression as well, how I ended up talking about industrial automation and learning about industrial automation myself. We'll talk about what is industrial automation, what is the scope of EIT's industrial automation, what is the potential job outcomes. So basically, how your interests can align with industrial automation and where you can take that going forward. I think that's probably the best outcome you can gain from this session today. So hopefully looking forward to discussing about that. Of course, different courses on industrial automation at EIT. We'll be discussing that, and of course, what EIT offers. So, what are some of our trending topics, and some of the examples of IA tools that we use at EIT that is industry standard and will be of beneficial for you going forward. We'll of course finish
Uh,
off with the
my
conclusion.
apologies, AK. Could you please take control of the slides so that you're able to move them?
Sure. Yeah, I think I have done that now.
There we go. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Okay.
So yes, thank you. So let's go on to the next slide, as you can see here. So what we'll be discussing about, first of all, is just a quick introduction from me. So as Safiso mentioned, my name is Dr. Akhlaqur Rahman. Everyone calls me AK. So I'm the lecturer and course coordinator at EIT for almost 6 years for the industrial automation program in particular. I did my PhD from Swinburne University in Melbourne, Australia. And before that, I did my bachelor's from AIUB in Bangladesh. So I came to Australia in 2014. Before that, I was also teaching there in Bangladesh as well. So I have almost 12 plus years of teaching experience in this time. I originally started as an electrical engineering background, but later moved on to industrial automation, Internet of Things, industrial data communication, machine learning, and so on. I've also Hopefully, I managed to make some mark of myself in the IEEE societies as well, especially in IEEE Victoria, IEEE Communication Society Victoria, and so on. And also, I was sitting in one of the boards for communication in Engineers Australia as well. So that's my background. So hopefully that makes me capable to talk about industrial automation. That is our main focus today. So, to everyone who has joined today, let's talk about industrial automation engineering and, in particular, about before we discuss about what is industrial automation, just a little bit about what automation is. Oh, nice. Thank you for joining as well from Bangladesh. So that's amazing. So, yeah, so talking about automation, right? So, I think it is very interesting that when you compare to programs such as civil, mechanical, electrical, the term automation may be less familiar with a lot of the audience. But if you think about it, automation is probably the most impactful and the most hyped and talked about area of engineering currently in the world. So if you're, I say 44 people in the audience, right? If I ask you, probably just write in the chat box, according to you, in the last 1 or 2 years, or let's say right now, if you were to ask, what is the most talked about innovation or technology that people are moving towards or learning, trying to learn or gain interest in? What is that one topic? Um, just mention something that comes to your mind. Okay, someone is saying robotics, someone is saying electric vehicles. Very interesting. Anyone? AI, AI. Yes, I can see. Oh, lots of people are talking about AI. So yes, definitely, that's what one I was also expecting as well. Yes, charging a concept of battery in electric vehicles. So electric vehicles, quite a lot of interest, of course, in the last few years with more adoption coming as well. But yeah, I see a lot of people did mention about AI, and I would have to agree that if you think worldwide, probably AI is the most talked about area. Bosco says Industry 4.0. We'll definitely be talking about that one as well. Thank you for mentioning that. It's nice to see all of you or have some idea of the area we're talking about. That always makes it interesting. So let's talk about AI, right? So you're talking about AI, probably the most talked about area. Lots of adoption of AI with things like ChatGPT made so easily available. AI being made so easily available. So if you think about an area like AI, what is AI allowing you to do? So it's allowing you to offload some of your work, and depending on whether it's like writing some information or summarizing some information or finding errors in some information, and you're offloading it to the computer and you're getting the information delivered to you in the correct manner or in the manner that you want, right? That itself is the concept of what automation is. So, in this, well, when we talk about AI or artificial intelligence, probably the biggest use of artificial intelligence is actually how you're automating your tasks. So, when we talk about industrial automation, probably let's start with how automation is used not in the industry but in your day to day life, whether it's a smart thermostat you're using, a smart sensor you're using, whether it's some sort of very simple technology that you are using just to automate your basic needs. Like it can be as simple as a robot vacuum at home that some of you are using nowadays, or a smart lighting. Everything is part of automation. So basically, what I'm trying to say is we are actually living in the middle of an automated or moving towards an automated industry, whether it's at home or in the industry. So that's why industrial automation is so relevant and very important, not only now, but what is coming forward as well. So because we always, are so familiar with electrical, civil, mechanical, I thought it would be good to just provide the context of why automation is, as an area of engineering, is so important for us. Now, just going back to the point of what we're saying about industrial automation, right? So, what is industrial automation? So, industrial automation, as the definition says, is the use of control systems can be computers or robots or IT, information technologies, for handling different processes and machineries in an industry to assist a human being and take over their responsibilities. So, if previously there was a set of engineers collecting some values for some sensors at the plant level, right now, what you can do is you can probably have smart sensors that are collecting that data and sending that data back into the server where you are monitoring it. That's automation. Right? That's a type of automation. So, what you're using is either you're using computer technology to manually control a machine instead of, you know, handling doing the work by your hand, or are allowing training a robot to do the work for you, or you are using some sort of communication or IT technology to not collect the information face to face, but rather connecting it remotely, something like that. So all of this is what it's doing is changing your role in the industry. Because a lot of people, when they hear the term industrial automation, the first thing they think is taking away jobs. But I argue that what it's actually doing is changing your job. So instead of actually um, doing a lot of manual labor, you are now in a situation where you have to train yourself to program the process or train the process or monitor the process and make yourself skilled, which is where our services and hopefully a lot of the courses will benefit here. So, with industrial automation, as I mentioned, you're offloading some of your work. Now, when we say industrial automation, right now we're in the middle of an automation boom where more technologies, such as I mentioned, things like IoT and other technologies, have taken over, and we are moving towards the next set of progression for which, as humans or as engineers, we need to progress with it. Now, surprisingly, this is nothing new. When we actually look at the history of industry, this has happened for hundreds of years. A lot of people like you and me have always adapted and evolved with new technology and basically learned the things. So, in that context, I just want to mention a little bit about what is the industry revolution. So I remember Bosco mentioning about Industry 4.0. So what the term Industry 4.0 means is the fourth industrial revolution. So we are in the middle of the fourth industrial revolution. So let's talk about where this industrial revolution started and what can we learn from it. All right. So if we look at Industry 1.0, this is the first industrial revolution where people learned about, okay, industrialization. So we can build industries, we can develop something using yeah, well, some sort of available technology for some sort of automation is not the right term at that point, but some sort of mechanization. So when we say Industry 1.0, we are talking about maybe 250 years back, where the people learned to use how hydro or water, the flow of water or hydro can be used. So how hydropower can be used. So they used it for mechanization. So they used it to run steam engines. They used to simplify agriculture and transportation operations instead of doing manual labor. So that was the first instance where manual labor was, let's say, somewhat curtailed or somewhat adapted to make it a more mechanized process. So that was again driven by how people managed to invent or identify the innovation of hydro power. Similarly, you'll see if you look at Industry 2.0, that was about 30 years back now when people invented electricity. So people invented electricity, and with that, they realized, okay, what we can do is run assembly lines. So now what we can do is make or at least use batch operation for manufacturing rather than manual labor. So what you can do is you can create these conveyor belt lines where you can build a same product of 100 products instead of building one part by part. Then instead of people can stand in line and do parts of a same process and build hundreds of the same product. So that's how Industry 2.0 came about. Again, you'll see that innovation played a big part in Industry 3.0, which was 50 years ago, which was computer and IT network. So when computer and IT networks were became commercialized, or very early on, at least at the industry level, what they realized was using computers, I can solve complex operational problems. And I can manually use a machine to control, sorry, I can use a computer to control a heavy machinery. And that's where using controllers and computers for heavy machineries where became a thing. In nowadays, in fact, this is still there in a lot of the classic operation of industry. So people need to are trying to move towards and so to more newer technology. So that was Industry 3.0. Again, computer and IT became an important part. And now, as Bosco had mentioned about Industry 4.0, is about 10, almost 15 years now, where we are in the middle of, or probably um, at the peak, probably in some cases, is at the Industry 4.0, where we are there because of the invention of Internet of Things. So, with Internet of Things, I don't want to go into too much of the details for that one, but the idea was that you could more again use the devices to communicate between themselves, and that can make smarter decisions at the plant level, so humans can monitor the operation and make more autonomous operations of the process at a lower level and monitor it from the higher level. So mobile watches, cars, robots, this can become a bit more operational, sorry, a bit more autonomous at the lower level. So this again, as the term says, was making the system more automated. So this was progressing the industrial automation path. So this is where we are currently at. We'll probably talk about Industry 5.0, or where it can go a bit later on for some of you who are interested in the future. But what we're trying to say is, so we are in the middle of this current state, and this is what industrial automation is all about, a constant progression of whatever new technologies are coming and how you adapt to it to make your process more automated. So that's what industry automation or industrial automation is. In fact, if you look at it, as the reports from 2018 says that 75 million jobs may be displaced by a shift in the division of labor between humans and machines, while 133 million new roles may emerge that are more adapted to the new division of labor between humans, machines, and algorithms. Now, I could have started with this slide, but the reason I wanted to mention it now is so that it makes a bit more sense of what they mean by the division of humans, machines, and algorithms when we're talking about the labor. So now we're in Industry 4.0, the roles have changed. The machine and algorithms work slightly differently. As a result, the role of humans and how their labor gets utilized also changes. What that means is, as engineers or as potential engineers, depending on at what level you are in, what you need to learn about also changes as well. So the whole thing of today's session is to talk about, obviously, give you a bit more insight about industrial automation engineering, but also to let you know about what you need to learn for the future. And for that, you need to understand what is the current status. So hopefully, so far, you guys are finding the topic interesting. So with the industrial automation, right? So one thing that we need to understand is about the potential job areas. So when we talk about automation, right? So the good thing about automation is it is important to understand the job market. So as I mentioned, it is a constantly evolving market. The biggest change in automation I can think of is how it has moved from just being the implementation of automated machineries now towards more data-driven analytics. So that's a new part that has added more cyber physical systems, which used to be more, manually roboted operation or robotic operation, more integration of AI. So this has changed how even industrial automation was, let's say, 10, 15 years ago. So as a result, the job areas have now also evolved. So whether you are from someone, excuse me, from a mechatronics or robotics background, or industrial engineering, or maybe someone from control engineering background, or electrical engineering, process engineering, industrial communication, oil and gas, IT, OT, security. Automation now has different areas. So I want to explain this slide in from the context of where you are coming from and where you want to go, right? So let's say a couple of scenarios. You have just finished year 12. You want to learn about, you want to maybe want to do bachelor studies. So you have the fundamentals of physics, chemistry, and everything covered. You want to learn about engineering, whether it can be civil, mechanical, electrical, industrial automation. So the thing with industrial automation is it is a very wide and broad area of engineering, and it is well related to other streams of engineering. So, for example, when we talk about robotics engineering, it's not a it's just a part of automation. So robotics has a part that is requires automation, and it is used in the industry. So industrial automation can relate to jobs in the robotics engineering field. Similarly, if you one of the main part of automation is the control aspect. So control engineering, if you focus on that, you'll have a job in that market. Electrical engineer or power engineering is very well related to industrial automation. In fact, whether it's automation in the power system analysis, power, let's say protection, automation is has different aspect that is well related to electrical engineering. So you can even do a bachelor in industrial automation or a master's and then find a job in the electrical engineering as well. Same for process engineering or chemical process engineering. It can be different process industries that require a certain portion of their operation to be automated. We have students, let's say, who did an internship in Coca-Cola, and they found some areas in their industrial operation where you can, suggest automation. So they're working on it. So the good thing is, every industry with the progress that has happened in technology has some technology that or some that area of their process that requires an expert with automation needs. So if you are an automation engineer, you will have a lots of option of which area you feel interested in, and maybe you want to go in that area, and you can choose that area. So automation will probably find you will find application in most of the industries because, as I mentioned, AI, data analytics, control engineering, cyber physical system, robotics. These are part, or IT/OT security as well, actually. So these are part of every industry, whether it's electrical, mechanical, civil, process engineering, electronics, oil and gas, instrumentation, everything. So you will find job in different areas. So that's one. So again, as I was mentioning, so if you're from, let's say, finished your year 12, you have the fundamentals of physics, chemistry, you can choose that area. Maybe you're from a vocational background and you've already had some hands-on practice with some instrumentation, electrical, control. So you can choose a course that will gain further expertise and go towards an area where you want to, excuse me, further gain expertise in. Someone may have done their some vocational studies in mechatronics or robotics. You can gain further knowledge there, and again, with an automation degree, you can find implementation in the robotics industry as well. So with industrial automation, I think a good thing is it is well related to every part of industry, and every industry requires an wing where automation experts are needed. So that's the benefit of industrial automation. Now, um, now that we have explained a bit about, what the industrial automation and the need for that industry is, and the how you can get benefited from it, now let's talk about how we can help you in gaining a degree with EIT that will help you further, gain knowledge about it. So the good thing about EIT is we're one of the well, pioneers, I think we can say. And one of our signature courses has been industrial automation. So we started delivering, really courses in industrial automation for a long time now, almost a decade now. And we have had professional certificates. We have a bachelor degree for almost, yeah, for a few years now, master's degree. We have a graduate and undergraduate certificates, as I mentioned, professional certificates, advanced diplomas. So industrial automation has been one of the biggest success stories of EIT, and we are really proud of the amount of work we have done with industrial automation and how good effort we have made in establishing it as its own field of engineering that requires recognition as well as implementation as well. So as I mentioned, we have advanced diploma programs in industrial automation. That's 18 months, a bachelor course with 3 years, a master's course, which is 2 years. We have 6 month graduate and undergraduate certificates where maybe someone, let's say, has a course degree in industrial automation, sorry, in electrical, but wants to do a 6 month course to gain some knowledge of automation that might help them upskill themselves for their job. You have that option as well. Or similarly, for a professional certificate where you actually have some knowledge in a particular industry, but for your job, you need to know a bit about SCADA or let's say PLC in particular. So you can do a professional certificate and you can learn about that. So we have the different flexibilities in our courses depending on where you need. I think this slide is where we try to explain what the course or the of our courses that industrial automation offers and how is that relevant to the significant trends. So I think I already did mention that because automation has evolved so much, a lot of the trends that we are covering is actually very relevant to how it will be used in the industry, probably by the time when you graduate. So, Internet of Things or IoT is a very popular topic now because devices need to communicate with each other. So, how is that communication set up? How is that IoT devices embedded engineering set up? How would probably the programming would be required? All of it is part of automation that is covered in our courses. Artificial intelligence, we have already mentioned about that. We have courses in artificial intelligence and machine learning where we actually teach all of our algorithms and how to implement them in industrial operation. We are very proud to mention that a lot of our students, some of them who already work with the industry in some cases, learn about machine learning and implement their work in the industry and gain actual practical results that you can actually provide obviously that helps them with their career growth, but also they're getting the best out of the course, in my opinion. You can think about smartphones, renewable energy, again a very important topic, virtual and augmented reality, collaborative robots, cybersecurity. So these are the current trends that in my humble opinion, will be the big important factors of automation or an, let's say, industry 4.0, as you're mentioning, in the next 5 to 7 years or maybe the next 10 years. So as you go along, you can see how that is incorporated in our courses at EIT. For example, we talked about digital control. So control operation is probably one of the main bread and butter when you talk about automation. So we have control actually covered in all of the courses. I mentioned here about the master's courses for, as you can see, industrial process control systems, industrial instrumentation, advanced process control, but even our bachelor courses, we have professional certificates in control. We have advanced diploma where the control fundamentals, not only from the control the design part, but the control valves part from the instrumentation, everything is covered. You think about machine learning and industrial automation. Machine learning was we have added this probably 3 years back, and that was probably our one of our most popular courses in the last few years, with people learning machine learning, so people gain knowledge about machine learning and implement it in their thesis, so which has been very popular. And a lot of people who has graduated and gotten good jobs have provided feedback of thanking us about this course being added and how that helped as well. And implementing that in their job was a very good success. So professional certificates, we have bachelor units as well, where we're covering data analytics and AI. So even our bachelor students have the proper knowledge if they want to, once they graduate, that they have the knowledge of how to implement AI and data-driven decision making. Cyber physical systems and IoT. So we have started courses on professional certificate of competency in industrial Internet of Things. Again, many places you might find courses on IoT, but industrial IoT, which is of course adjusted more focusing on the IoT, but from the industrial aspect, we have a course on that. Similarly, on big data and electricity analytics in electricity grid. So again, someone with some electrical engineering background or interest, but they want to implement big data and analytics there. So you have courses there as well. Similarly, courses in PLC and SCADA system, probably one of our most popular courses, because a lot of people who have maybe course background in other courses in electrical or mechanical and maybe want to learn about PLC and SCADA for their job purposes or to upskill themselves. So they learn this sort of courses as well. One of the biggest things we have focused on in the last few years is how to integrate robotics and mechatronics into our automation course, because the cyber physical system aspect of it should also implement the robotics as well. So it's not only about the machineries, but how to make the machine smarter for automation purposes as well. So that has also focused on, industrial robotics and mechatronics. So if you learn this course, you learn about the robotics basics, but you also learn about data analytics. So maybe you can then implement that in your robotics operation and improve that. One aspect that I haven't really talked about much today, but is a big aspect going forward, will be the cybersecurity and the automation related to that in the industrial sphere. Um, so I'll answer the question in a minute. So yeah, so cybersecurity is a very important part as well. Um, so when we talk about industrial communication and cybersecurity, we have actually added some units on cybersecurity and how automation relates to that as well as about the modern industrial communication systems and how that relates to things like industrial IoT and control operation as well. So with the industrial automation, I feel it's because it's such a broad area, you'll see in also our course designs as well. What we have done is we have covered the fundamentals, but also given you some room for with the choice of electives about if you want to maybe, go in a particular area about, let's say, more on the cybersecurity space or more in the robotics space or more in the data analytics space or more in the, let's say, power electronics space as well. You have that option. Uh, I think there's a question from Mesh talking about if someone has a master's in electrical systems with EIT, are there any common modules on industrial automation masters that can be credited? Okay, so when you're doing a master's, right? So what we have done in our MIA courses, we have some elective options where there are some courses from other streams like mechanical and electrical added as potential electives. So let's say you are in the final year and you want to learn more about, or maybe let's say you're originally from a mechanical background, but you're learning about automation and or say about you're from an electrical background and learning about automation, but you want to implement it in your electrical field. So we have some courses from electrical that can actually be used as an elective in your course. Similarly, I think for the electrical courses as well, if I'm correct, they have some options of elective where some courses like machine learning, for example, is a potential elective you can choose and use it. So yeah, so that's basically the idea. When you say if someone has a master's in electrical system with EIT and talking about I'm assuming you want to do another master's in industrial automation masters, whether that will be credited or not. So industrial automation itself, you'll see that there is a couple of units on electrical or power. So it will be on a case by case basis. You'll have to apply and show that whether you have the exposure or not. If it is, then you might be considered for that. Are there any internships during the master program of industrial automation? So we do have in the internship or basically a professional experience as a unit in our course. So basically, as part of it, you will be required to either show that you have done some internship before or some sort of work that covers for that experience, or you may have to talk to EIT and about your options for internships as well. I'll probably finish the slides before I go back to the questions, otherwise we might delay a bit too much. So just finishing off with some of the examples for industrial automation tools at EIT. So this is just to show you that practical and well, hardware and software, we try to provide the best exposure for you for the industrial tools at EIT. So for example, PLC. So this is a Siemens PLC tool, and it has, I think, if I remember correctly, about 12 to 14 experiments that can be operated like a lifter or for example, a batch assembly, water level detector, that sort of thing. So that is part of our master's program and graduate certificate programs as well. We also have experiments where you have remote PLC controlled operation as well, so that you can also do remotely control the PLC to run an operation as well. Similarly, for SCADA, which is another very important part of automation, especially in the power systems. So we have industry standard software like Plan SCADA, which you can control through our remote lab for free, and you can, do assignments on that. Excuse me for the cold. Similarly, you can see things like building a neural network. So whether it's a machine learning algorithm or data analytics unit, so you'll be given the knowledge about how to implement neural networks for different industrial processes. Similarly, if you have to design a process controller, which is a very important part of automation. So we have control and advanced control units that show you different types of PID controllers and so on that you can, even digital controllers, and how to implement them. You want to model a process as well. So we have Math Campus or MATLAB access for all the students. So you can use MATLAB for free and design the processes there, use it for your thesis and so on. And also, as you can see, forecasting electricity demand. So predictive analytics or predictive modeling, that's another very important part. We see after we have done data analytics and machine learning, we see a lot of students implementing their own industry data and using that for different knowledge. So overall, what I feel is with automation, if I just quickly summarize, right? Again, I just want to, I know, started with a proper context of what is the most important or more contextual thing in the current context of the world. Let's finish off with the current context as well. If you think about it, I don't know if many people heard about it or not, but last week, right, two people. So in physics and chemistry, the Nobel Prize for this year was provided, right? So for physics and for chemistry, interestingly, both were actually given to scientists who implemented AI technology to solve probably an age-old problem in their domain, with AI being properly implemented and solving the problem. So you can see how even fundamentals like physics and chemistry are adopting things like AI, and this brand new technology will be implemented in their research. So something as old and very classic, well, institute like Nobel Prizes. So if you think about it, it is just an indication of how AI, IoT, and everything that's part of Industry 4.0 will probably be a big part of what is coming forward. So if I have to finish with something positive, I just want to say that, again, I go back to what Bosco said about Industry 4.0. We're in the middle of Industry 4.0. Anyone who graduates now will have a lot of demand in industrial automation going forward, because what comes after Industry 4.0? Industry 5.0. And Industry 5.0, from what is predicted, will probably come sooner rather than later, probably in the next decade or so, and it will focus on collaborative robots, more focus on cybersecurity automation, things like digital twin being a bigger part of than what it is actually, and more data-driven decision making. So overall, I see a lot of potential in industrial automation, and I feel it is such a broad area. And the way we keep the programs up to date, there is a lot you can gain out of it if you choose to carry on this path. And the best thing about industrial automation is people from different backgrounds can come in. So I see some questions from different background students. I'll answer them now. But yeah, so all in all, I want you to have the open mind that from different background or different interests, you can come into automation and gain something that you can implement in your field of interest, because there will be a lot of demand for automation given the context of Industry 4.0 and where it's going in the next decade. So that's all from me. Before I answer the questions, Safisa, do you want to add anything before I answer any of the questions? That's all from me for the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, AK. No, you can go ahead and answer the questions, and then I will wrap up after you.
Sure. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So thank you. Okay, so I can see Pankaj has a question asking, sorry, I think Romesh had a question. For the CMQ AI and machine learning course, covers Python and any coding languages. So normally, if you have a machine learning course, we'll definitely be covering Python in that one. But also, I think if you just contact on the website as well for CS, feel free to, they will probably definitely provide you more detailed information of what that course covers. But yes, normally that will be covered. And also our bachelor and master's program, they cover Python because that is one of the key parts of automation and even actually engineering. We have covered C for so long, but excuse me, Python is something that is required a lot. So definitely that is being covered there. I think Pankaj is asking, sir, I done BTech in electrical engineering, which stream is best for me to move on or best master in industrial automation or electrical engineering. To be honest, Pankaj, I think it depends on which area you want to work on, right? So if you have done BTech in electrical engineering and if you have exposure to control and instrumentation and you have good knowledge of programming, you can do either industrial automation or electrical engineering. I mean, I find if you do a course in industrial automation, you can probably implement it in your electrical field, but also in other field as well, depending on which area. That's just my opinion. But yeah, I feel that with your area, you can probably go into both. But that's why I think the thing like an automation degree is very good because automation also has electrical engineering as part of it. So that with your knowledge, you can probably with your background in bachelor's, you can choose. You can say that okay, like you to an electrical company that you're interviewing for, I already have the electrical engineering knowledge. Plus, I have the automation knowledge that a lot of maybe the employees don't have. So that gives me an added advantage. So that's where I'm actually. I think I feel that an automation degree gives you benefit. So I see another questions. I have okay, bachelor engineering mechanical. Which option is best for me? Again, so mechanical engineering, of course, you can do MME, but if you have exposure in control, I'll just write it down as well, just so you understand. Control, instrumentation, instrumentation, and programming, then you can probably be suitable for automation as well, and it's the same benefit as I previously mentioned. So that's another one. If one has a master of electrical with EIT, what course in industrial automation can compliant with electrical master qualification? Okay, so if you have done already a Master of Electrical with EIT and you don't want to do another master's program, you can simply do a professional certificate. Graduate certificate is a 6 month course. That's another option. But probably what I would suggest, Ramesh, in that case is you see where your expertise is. So let's say you already have the electrical degree, but if you want to maybe gain some knowledge in machine learning that you didn't do, and you can do a professional certificate excuse me, with EIT, and then you can merge those two knowledge yourself, and probably when you apply in the job, you can mention, yeah, the master's with electrical, but I also have the knowledge of machine learning as well. So that's one. I also see from Texo website, it seems that the accreditation for the Masters in Industrial Automation has expired or has not been renewed for someone who wants to pursue. Should that be concerned? I don't see the name here, but I'm sure that's incorrect because our MIA course is fully what's the word? Fully accredited with
Credited.
engineers. Sorry, go
Yes.
ahead, Safi, if you want to answer that one.
Okay. So the Masters is fully accredited under the Engineering Alliance with EA, and that is under the Washington Accord. I'll be sure to provide information regarding accreditation for all our programs, especially the ones in industrial automation. I'll leave the links in the chat box so that you guys are more than welcome to actually go through the information. You can also send them an email or give them a call. They'll be happy to answer.
Thank you so much, Safi. So that's I think makes it quite clear, and thank you for the additional information as well. So someone is asking, must someone have, hmm, excuse me, have background knowledge on programming language before applying for industrial automation? Unfortunately, yes, I would say that is, as I mentioned, so some knowledge of control, right? And instrumentation and programming is required. So when I say programming, even basic programming like C programming or a bit of Python would be useful. Without that, it will be a bit difficult to gain uh, entry, especially for the master's program when I talk about it. So when you talk about bachelor, though, that's a different thing. So I don't know if you're talking about the bachelor. So bachelor entry requirements are different. So because for that, you will be taught programming at a basic level yourself. So as long as you have some good fundamentals in math, and probably physics, that should be fine. But I think mainly math. So that shouldn't be a problem. So if you're talking about bachelor degree, if it's professional certificate, so for that, I don't think you have any entry requirements. So you will be, the courses are designed in a way. So even if you don't have any programming knowledge, you will be taught that way. So you learn about it. Okay, so it depends on which course. So what I would suggest is when you contact with the course advisors, just mention which course it is, and that same question, they will provide you the exact same guidance depending on what course you are doing. I can see Unwana mentioning I have a bachelor engineering in mechanical and I'm going for masters in mechanical as well. Which of the industrial automation will be appropriate for me? So if you're already doing a master's in mechanical, then I think you have already chosen the path, and that's great. So if it's with EIT, I think masters in mechanical, you'll probably see that they have some elective courses. So you might find some course from automation or mechanical streams as well. See which course will benefit you in terms of your knowledge. So I think that will depend on a case by case basis or based on what you require from your side, actually. Okay. I see another one. I'm a diploma holder in electrical engineering Kenya, 15 years field experience, and currently teaching practicals in a technical and vocational college. How can I progress? Okay, so with a diploma degree in electrical engineering and 15 years of field experience, so It will depend on what level your experience is, right? So, of course, with a diploma, I think with your experience, as long as it's relevant, you'll be eligible probably for the bachelor course, right? But sometimes, depending on the level of work you have done over the 15 years, whether it's a technician level or maybe at an engineering level or at least at a higher level, you may sometimes be eligible for a graduate certificate that leads to masters or basically the master's course as well. So it will depend on a case by case scenario. So you also need to talk about that. Sorry, my apologies. I had to just cough as well. So yeah, hopefully that helps with that answer. So Pankaj also mentioned which software I can prepare before I go on EIT Masters of Industrial Automation. I would say the most used software you'll probably get is MATLAB. So MATLAB is very useful and a very powerful tool that I'll suggest, and probably something like codices. So well, I won't ask you to try too much before you take on this. Probably some first year unit software that might be benefit. So that's a MATLAB codices. These would be very good programming knowledge that will be beneficial for you if you're doing a MIA course at the EIT. Could you please get your so I'm not sure about the WhatsApp number, but yeah. So I think that's all the questions from I have, Safiso.
Yes, that is correct. And those are all the questions that we have for today. In terms of the attendee wanting to get a hold of you, we can perhaps provide an email address. However, unfortunately, not a WhatsApp or cell phone number. And I am sure going to leave the links regarding the programs that we have on offer in industrial automation. As I've mentioned, the advanced diploma, the bachelor's degree, as well as the master's in industrial automation are all fully accredited under the Dublin, Sydney, and Washington Accord, respectively. The links will just show you the information. You can go ahead and see which other courses that we have at EIT that are fully accredited or provisionally accredited under that accord. In terms of the slides as well as the recording of the session, they will be mailed to you by EIT's marketing team. It should be in your emails right after the 21st of October 2024. And if you have any further questions, you can reach out to us through the very same email address. We do have people working on the webinar section, and they will be happy to provide you with any information you might need. Additionally, if you'd like to speak to a course advisor regarding your study options at EIT, I will also leave the links there. You can book a call to speak with them regarding any information you'd like to know. Again, the website is also a great point of reference. Any information that you might need regarding the course, the software, as well as the program structure can be found on the website. I will be sure to leave the links. If that is all, a special thank you to Dr. AK. It was a lovely presentation, and more especially to our attendees. Thank you so much for joining. Hoping to see you on the next one. We will have other sessions for the remainder of the week. Thank you so much and have a lovely rest of your day, guys. Goodbye.
Thank you, Safiso. Lovely session.
Thank you. Bye.